Okay guys, welcome to another Friday Waffle. I know that I said a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't going to be doing this on a regular basis or every week like I was, but I've got to say I've been overawed with the number of questions this week, so I've got more than plenty for a waffle. In fact, depending on the time, I might actually have to keep a few of these things back. The great thing with the subjects that I get asked about, the questions, etc., it's all when you're getting asked about a spectrum, it doesn't matter whether I answer it this week or next week. It's not like a current thing. So anyway, thanks to all the guys that ask questions. Right, kick things off. Now, I know I touched on it last week, and I know it's something that people say don't bother about, move on, and it's dealing with trolls. Now, a couple of weeks ago, as I said that I put a video up. It was They Did What Gremlin graphics, where I featured about 20-30 games, and I passed a comment about one particular game saying I didn't think it was that great, and there was one chap took umbrage to this, and he was just being a complete arse about it. The way he was sort of commenting on it, saying that I should do my research, and just the kind of words that he used, they weren't particularly nice. And of course, a few people, a few of my subscribers, my loyal following, jumped in and gave their tuppence worth, and then somebody else jumped in, and it just got quite nasty. And I noticed this morning somebody else has come on and he's basically accusing me of making up accounts, and the guy's been an absolute arse, just been really, really nasty. And I was just wondering how. I know you should ignore these people. I mean, I do tend to take things quite personal, and I know I shouldn't do that. I mean, I would say to anybody, just ignore trolls, ignore them and move on. But I was just wondering what other people, how they deal with trolls. And what I've done is the comment that guy posted. The funny thing is, the guy that originally criticised me, the two people that have backed him up, if you go to their accounts, the only channel that these two people are subscribed to is the original guy, so I'm quite sure it's the same person. But I'm just curious as to how other people deal with trolls. I mean, I actually went in tonight and just deleted the guy's comment, because as far as I'm concerned, my channel is my channel. It's nobody else's channel. It's not a forum. It's not a forum for discussion, and I'm not going to have arseholes being derogatory about me and other people. I'm not going to put up with it. So I've just deleted the comments. I mean, at first I thought, I should really leave them in. I thought, no, wait a minute, it's my bloody YouTube channel. I'm not having arseholes coming in. It's the same way if I had a party in my house and there was people coming in, that's fine. You get somebody coming in and causing trouble, you fucking throw them out, and that's exactly, as far as I'm concerned, the guy was in the wrong. I mean, the unfortunate thing with trolls is if they come in and start making, nasty comments and, just being an arse, then other people will jump in and defend, make counter comments, and it ends up degenerating into sort of quite nasty sort of stuff. There's nothing there that's really nice to read. So I think it's probably better for everybody that you just remove the comments. But yeah, I'm just curious as to how other people deal with it. I mean, like I said, I was thinking about it, and I thought, I'm the moderator, at the end of the day it's my channel, I'm the moderator, but I thought, no, I'm not leaving these comments in because they serve no purpose. They just make me angry when I read them, and I don't really want other people going in and making counter comments, because it just gets nasty. This thing is all about having a laugh. I try to be entertaining when I make my videos. If I upset people with my comments, then I'm sorry, but you know what, I'm entitled to my opinion. And at the end of the day, when you look at what's going on in the world, there's bloody rape, there's genocide, there's people getting blown up with bombs, there's all manner of horrible things going on in the world, and you hear some overage man-child greeting about somebody saying a bad thing about a game that he likes. Fucking go and get a life. But as far as I'm concerned, trolls can piss off, and I will just delete their comments. So anyway, that is how I deal with trolls. I'm just curious as to how other people do it. I know I probably can't get too involved with it, but just, yeah, it happens. I think because I've been very lucky, I can't say I've had any trolls at all. I've had one or two comments about, you know, how I do things. But anyway, this leads on rather nicely. Dave, Lawn Boys Post 1975, he made a video earlier this week, and what he was saying is, he was asking a question: do we take YouTube channels for granted and forget that behind the screen there is an individual? And that's a good point, and I think we do. I mean, it's, you know, for the want of not going over, you know, the same material, I sound like a broken record, but people who make YouTube content, most of us, well, I mean, there's people who make a wee bit of money out of it, but at the end of the day, it's a hobby. You know, anybody can go onto YouTube and record videos, and for most of us it is nothing more than a hobby. I mean, there are some big channels make money out of it, indeed it's their livelihood, but I for one don't make a single penny out of this. You know, I do it like what Dave does as well, is I make these videos because I enjoy making them. It's fun. I love talking about video games. I like playing video games. I love talking about them even more probably than actually using the things. And a nice sort of a nice effect of making videos is you get one or two people who seem to quite enjoy watching them, and you know, the nice part of that is you get a bit of banter going, you get comments, you get discussions about different things, you even have a laugh at times as well, which is excellent. But then, you know, talking about the trolls again, you then get people who come on and, you know, they try and tell you, I mean, this guy was trying to tell me that I had no right making a video and trying to mislead people and blah 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 blah. It's my channel, I make it the way I want to make it. If people don't like, you know, the way I make videos or the way I do it, then go and look at another channel. I mean, nobody makes you watch this. You know, we do this for fun, and nobody asks anybody to watch their videos. There's plenty of videos that I've looked at in the past and watched, and I don't like it, and I don't go and comment and say, oh, this is crap. I just think, oh, it's not for me, and I move on, you know. And I think, yeah, Dave's got a great point. You have to appreciate that we're all human beings the same as anyone else. You know, just because we're putting ourselves out here on internet land doesn't mean we don't have feelings, and I've got feelings like anybody else. And you know, when people start getting arsey and critical and, you know, derogatory towards me, then I do take it personal, and that's the only way to take it. Yeah, I know in future I'll probably just delete the comment and forget about it, but people have to try and respect that we're human beings as well. We don't get paid for this. We do it to entertain. I do this because I enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it's nice to think that somebody else enjoys what I do, and you know, that's great. But you know, I know it's like pushing sand up a hill, or farting against thunder, whatever one you want to think about. Trying to reason with people on the internet is impossible, because you've got somebody sitting behind their wee computer or on their iPad, whatever it is, and they're just being downright horrible, and you can't ever reason with these people. But all I would say to anybody that's out there that watches YouTube channels, before you make a nasty comment or before you criticise how somebody records a video a certain way, just think about it and think, well, this guy's not charging anything, he's doing it out of goodness, you know, he's not charging anything to entertain people. Before you start getting too critical, just think about that, you know. By all means, if you know you're a Patreon and you pay money towards somebody's channel, then I would say you've got some kind of right. I mean, if I go to a restaurant and get a bad service, a bad meal, I've paid money for that, so I'm entitled to complain about it. But you're not entitled, I don't think you're entitled to complain about watching a YouTube channel, you know, watching a video. You've not contributed anything, you don't pay to watch it. So I don't think you've got any right to be critical. By all means, if it's constructive criticism, I don't have a problem with that. But to just go out your way and be deliberately nasty and derogatory, then, you know, no, not at all. And another thing that Dave's talking about is, Dave, on his own admission, does have quite low technical production values, very much like myself. I mean, I'm sitting recording this on an iPad, and you know what? It's, as Dave says, people are saying, well, why don't you get a better camera, and why don't you do it this way, and why don't you do it that way? And I get the same thing sometimes. I mean, my production values are very, very low as well. I don't use a light or anything. I mean, I've got the light on in the room, you know, which hopefully you can see me, because it is getting dark now. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to go invest in any more money in things. I would like to have a better camera, don't get me wrong, and I've got to say, I've asked my wife for my birthday, I believe Christmas, for a good microphone. Is it a yak microphone, I think they call it? So hopefully, once I get that, the actual volume, or not the volume, but the audio quality will be better. But that's the thing, you have to, you know, before you go ahead and start criticising somebody for the quality of the video, you've got to kind of appreciate a couple of things. Firstly, you may find that the person making the video is absolutely quite happy with the output, you know, that he's actually producing, or else he probably wouldn't be making the videos to begin with. I mean, I says my production values aren't the greatest, but it works for me. And again, a good point that Dave made, it's all about, you know, if you want to have a better higher quality videos, then you need to get a better camera, and you probably need to invest more time. Now, we don't all have infinite amount of time. I mean, I've got a job, I've got a family and that kind of stuff, so this thing that I do is it's a hobby for me, and I certainly couldn't afford to spend any more time making YouTube content. At the end of the day, you know, I've spent hours making certain videos and hardly anyone watches it, and then I can knock together a 10-minute video and it gets loads of views. But you know, it's all about a lifestyle choice. I've got other things going on in my life besides YouTube, and it's just part of my life, you know. And the thing is as well, guys, there's people, you know, don't have the money for fancy equipment, you know, and you know, so just be aware of that before you sort of comment. But like I said, I've not got a problem with constructive criticism, but when somebody is deliberately just being arsey or whatever, you just really need to think before you post and think, well, this is an individual, you don't know anything about this person other than what you're seeing on screen. You know, we're not these movie stars that are earning lots of money or anything like that. We're just normal human beings like the guys that are actually watching this. So be aware of that, you know. And yes, there's a person behind the video, and I think you have to try and appreciate that, you know, before you start throwing stones, which can happen quite a lot of times. So anyway, yep, that is that. Right, first question time from Mr. Batman. Best control method in games, pad, stick or keyboard? Now he's saying, being reared on the Spectrum and Master System NES, I started off getting used to and eventually liking keyboard controls. With the Master System and NES, I really like using gamepads. I almost bypassed joysticks altogether. What are your thoughts? I was a C64 man, and so obviously the 8-way joystick, Atari type joystick, was the control system that I used. Now for many years, when I was just using emulators, all my games were controlled using an Xbox 360 controller. In fact, it wasn't even that, it was a wee cheapy gamepad that I used to use. And it wasn't long before I realised that some games, like, I don't know, best example I can think of, Drop Zone on the C64, trying to play Drop Zone on my gamepad just doesn't really work. It's not got the, I don't know, I find gamepads slightly too sensitive. Well, with a fast-paced game like Drop Zone, you need to have really accurate control. So I think it really depends on the actual system itself. I mean, being a C64 man, I never ever played keys. I mean, 99% of games for the C64 had a joystick option. I can't think of any game that I played that didn't have it, because I mean, it obviously came with 2 joystick ports. Maybe some basic games would be keys only, but I never ever used keys, and that's why I couldn't play the Spectrum, a lot of Spectrum games, because a lot of Spectrum owners that I know preferred the keys. You know, the keys were the controls of choice. You could get obviously a joystick adapter, your Kempson adapter type thing, but programmers wrote games with controls in mind. So some of the games on the Spectrum are absolutely sublime using keys. You know, I would frown upon having to use keys in a game, but when you play some of the old Spectrum games, you realise that keys are actually a really good control system. I mean, there's one game, in fact, I've just actually about to contradict myself, one game that you do play with the keys on the C64, and that's Thrust. Now, I did do a video of that fairly recently. Thrust is a type of game that you need the precision keys. You know, it's like an Asteroids type game, and I don't think you could play a game that requires that level of control using a joystick. So I think it really depends on the control system. I mean, we're used to obviously you know, joysticks, we're used to having really fancy controllers, Xbox 360 controllers, PS4 controllers. You know, you've got the analog. I mean, a joystick now, a controller now is so far advanced from what we used to get. You've got your analog, so you can just move the controller slightly and that will affect the speed of whatever you're actually controlling. You've got the throttle controls at the top, which again are analog, which you can use for acceleration and that kind of stuff. But yeah, as I says, I think it all depends. I mean, if I was to choose my favourite control method, I would say for old style games, i.e. C64 and Amiga, Atari ST, I would always go for a standard Atari joystick. But obviously I'm quite at home using, you know, the PS4 controllers, because modern systems, you couldn't play an Xbox 360 controller using an Atari joystick. That just wouldn't happen. So it all depends on the platform and type of game. But for arcade games, it's got to be joystick and buttons every time. You can play obviously games in MAME using a 360 controller, but it just doesn't feel right. You know, it's all about the individual game type and the controller. So yeah, great question, and thanks again, Bat. I appreciate that, buddy. Right, Mr. Jamie Williamson. Jamie's asking, I know that like me you love both classic and modern gaming, but if you had to choose between only playing games of the last 10 years or only playing classic games, i.e. 90s, 1990s and earlier, what would you choose? Bloody hell, Jamie. As much as I do really love my PS4 and modern consoles, I think it would come as no surprise when I say it would have to be the old style games. Couple of reasons. I've got the nostalgia attached to the old games, your Robotrons, Space Invaders, what have you. But for me, I don't know, I just enjoy it more. I find that the more modern games, I mean, don't get me wrong, modern games now are absolutely awesome. You know, the level of detail, the immersiveness of the landscapes that you're in, the stuff you can do is absolutely incredible. And you know, I don't knock them. I would never ever say that old style games are better than newer games. I think newer games, you know, when you compare them on a technology basis, there's no comparison. But for me personally, I'll always enjoy the older games. I mean, I've got to kind of use what I play now as a yardstick. And in the last couple of weeks, I've not actually switched my PS4 on, whereas I've been playing all my old systems. I was playing the Spectrum, I've been playing my PC Engine, I've been playing all the old systems. I think for me is, I just like the pick up and play aspect of these games. I like the high score aspect. I mean, if I was trapped in a desert island, you would never tire of playing Robotron because it's never ending. You're just constantly pushing boundaries, trying to beat a high score. If you play a game like a modern third person shooter, after maybe 5 or 6 hours, technically you can complete it. So you do get to the end of the game. But I don't know, just for me, it's all, everybody's got their own opinions about things. I will always be firmly old school games. I do love modern games, but you know, I'm definitely in the old school camp. So yeah. Number 2, you're creeping steadily towards 1,000 subs. If someone had told you this 3 years ago, would you be ecstatic or whimply quietly in a corner? It's a funny thing, Jamie. I mean, yeah, Jamie's he was one of the first subscribers I ever had. It's 3 years ago, you know, when I first started this, and I can literally remember getting my first couple of subscribers, and the feeling that you get knowing that somebody has actually chosen to watch videos that you're making is quite a magical thing. You're thinking, bloody hell, what I'm doing here, somebody else finds entertaining and wants to watch what I'm doing. And I mean, I actually started the YouTube channel just for my own benefit, just to give me something to do. And the fact that somebody wants to watch my videos is quite cosmic, to use a different phrase. And yeah, 3 years ago, if somebody said I would be approaching 1,000 subscribers, it seems nuts. I mean, somebody actually, a while back, I was talking to somebody about it, and you know, when you think, 500 subscribers, that's not very much. You know, you look at these big channels with millions of subscribers, and yeah, 500 or 1,000 isn't very much. But he said, can you imagine 500 people in a room? You're sitting at a table and you've got 500 people watching, listening to you talking. That would be quite intimidating. That's a lot of people. You know, so if you think about it in real terms, how many people that is, that's a lot of people. 1,000 people would be like, I don't know, three or four cinemas all watching me, and that's quite scary. I know that, you know, probably 3/4 of them don't actually watch my videos, but that's YouTube for you. But yeah, absolutely mental. I would never have imagined it in my wildest dreams. But it's like anything, you know, it's done over such a gradual period. So you go from 2 to 3 to 10 to 20 to 40 to 50. It's done over such a gradual period that, you know, you don't really think about it too much. But yeah, to eventually hopefully hit 1,000 subscribers is pretty mental. So anyway, Jamie, thank you for your questions, mate. Appreciate it. Right, Mr. Paddy O'Connor. Does making films from video games work, or making games from films? I watched Doom earlier with the wife and she thought it was shite. I thought it was shite as well. It probably is, but because I loved the game I quite liked it. So would fond gaming memories override the blatant crapness of a film? I don't know if it would. I mean, I'm a massive Resident Evil fan. Love most of the games. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is one of my favourite video games of all time. I've seen the first couple of Resident Evil films, and I must admit, I mean, there was an initial draw to watch it because it was based on the film, but I've got to say I wasn't overly keen on them. And I know is it Silent Hill? There's a film about Silent Hill. Never seen that, so I don't know. I think possibly if a film came out of a game that I really enjoyed, then there would be a temptation to want to see it. But I don't think I would like the film anymore just because I'm a fan of it. I mean, yeah, you're talking about films being made of video games. I mean, what have we had? There was a Final Fantasy game film which was kind of CGI, I think. Obviously you had the famous Mario Brothers. What else have we had? We've had Doom. Still waiting for the Manic Miner film. And the Robotron, that would be excellent with these extras. Christ almighty, there's been other films, I can't think of any other ones. Would there be any game that would make a good film? I'm not too sure. I mean, film and video games are two completely separate forms of media. I'm not quite sure that a good film would make a good game, or vice versa. Obviously there's tons of games based on films. I mean, Ocean's back catalogue were pretty much all sort of licensed games. I mean, RoboCop was one of the biggest, and it's actually a really good game, I have to say. I'm just trying to think, has there been any good film based on a video game? Bloody hell, right, Doom, Resident Evil, Mario Brothers. I can't think of any, you know that, I can't think of any. So, nah, I don't think, like I say, I think they're just two completely separate entities. I don't think really one makes a good other, if that makes any sense. But anyway, listen, Paddy, thanks for your question, buddy. Right, next batch of questions. Now, can I just say, I got one from Kevin down the rabbit hole, talking talking about piracy. Kev, if you don't mind, mate, what I'm going to do is I think I've got enough content for this waffle. I'm going to put that on to next week if that's alright, because I think it's Kev's asking me to just to kind of discuss the various forms of piracy that came out over the years, and I think that's probably quite a big subject. So if it's alright, Kev, I'm going to put that back to next week, so at least it gives me something to talk about. So thanks for that, Kev. Right, Tony Retronic Collector, can never get your name right there, Tony. He's asking, what is your favourite top 5 Xbox 360 games? Bloody hell. I've got a shitload of games. I've got 200 games up there. What games? Let me think. In no particular order, Crackdown, which was one of the very, very early games that came out for the 360. It's basically a kind of sandbox game where you've got to try and take down gangs which inhabit this fictional sort of city. Graphics, they're not stunning looking by any shape or form, but the interactivity and the stuff you can do is brilliant. I mean, you can level up, you collect these kind of token things and you level up, and as you level up your strength gets better, your jumping ability gets better, and you can jump on top of buildings. I mean, you can climb. The great thing about Crackdown is anywhere you can see in the city you can actually go to. So you see a skyscraper miles away, you can get to the skyscraper and you can climb to the top of it. So it basically gives you superpowers, and you can pick up cars, you can throw cars off buildings at people, you can kick lorries. It's just mental. You can do all this daft stuff that you'd love to be able to do if you're a kid with superpowers. So Crackdown is awesome. If you've never played it, it's a really old game. You could probably get it for about 50 pence now. Go and check it out. Brilliant game. Second game which I loved on the 360 was the original Gears of War. You've probably all played the game. If you haven't played it, you need to go and check it out. It's one of the best shooters, third-person shooters in my opinion. It's, you know, the baddies, it's real gritty stuff. Some of the baddies are horrible, really horrible looking things. Graphics are amazing looking. In fact, my daughter and I were playing it fairly recently, and it still stands up today, even on split screen on a 360, you know, which is like 10 years old. It's a fantastic game. Love Gears of War to bits. Other games, what was the game I used to play a lot? Ridge Racer 6, I think it was. Used to play that all the time. It was one of the few games that I used to actually play online with my mates. It's a pure out and out arcade racer, so it's quite easy to play, but just getting used to power slide and that kind of stuff around corners is awesome. I played that a lot. Never played it much in one player, but certainly the multiplayer aspect, online aspect of that is fantastic. So yeah, Ridge Racer 6, that's 3. Is there any others that I can think of? Yep, I've just checked my collection. 2 other ones, one of which I'm actually playing currently with Ava, and it is Left 4 Dead. You play the part of one of 4 people. You're in this zombie apocalypse, and you've basically got to try and survive, and it's just out and out shooting. You know, the landscapes are all really believable. It's just amazing fun, really good. It's even better if you play it online, because you can actually play like 4 people all in a team, you know, fighting for the same cause. It's really good. But me and my daughter have been playing it split screen, and again, it's an awesome game. The graphics aren't that good, you know, when you consider it's on 10-year-old technology and it's split screen again. But Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, they're both superb games. Go and check them out. And the last one, I've got a dog wanting in. Hurry up! In. Now you go and lie down. The last one, what was it? I was looking at it. The Orange Box by Valve. That was a collection of, I think it was 5 games. You had Half-Life 2, Portal, which is a game I could never really get on with, and Counter-Strike, I think it's called. But Half-Life and Half-Life 2 are both stunning games. They're old, they're really old now, but fantastic storylines, great graphics, yeah, quite dated now, but really immersive storylines. The baddies, the set pieces, just an awesome game. It's fantastic value. It's called the Orange Box. I said you get about 5 games, and you can probably get it for about £5, if not less. It's quite an old game again, but the Orange Box is absolutely fantastic. So that's thanks for that, Tony. Now he's got another couple. Do you own any handheld consoles, and if so, what are they? Bloody hell, I knew you were going to ask that. Right, no particular order. What have we got? I've got my Game Boy Advance, which is the original Game Boy Advance, but it's got a rather nice screen fitted to it with the backlight, as you can see there. Really, that was my mate Joe fitted that. Excellent, that's a great console. So that's my Game Boy Advance original. Then I've got my Game Boy Advance SP. I keep looking the wrong way. It's over there. Again, it's got the extra bright light installed in it, which is fantastic. Then I have got my Game Boy 3DS, Nintendo 3DS, which is the newer one. It's got the thing that kind of focuses the camera, so you get a better kind of field of vision. Then I've got my GPD XT, which is probably my favourite handheld. It's a fantastic handheld for emulation. Then I've got my PS Vita, which I've got the hacked, well, it's not hacked firmware, it now runs emulators again. Fantastic. And I've got my lovely Pandora, Open Pandora, which is a fantastic wee machine. It's really old, but it plays emulation and all the old games, even PlayStation and that kind of stuff, beautifully. And I've got my PSP Go, which has got the little flip screen. You can see that. Sorry for the light being really crap in here, guys. I might actually have to invest in a light. Oops, I've just switched the thing on. You can get switched off. Turn off. And then I've got my Nintendo DS Lite. Great little console. Nice black colour. And then I've got the original Game Boy, again with a nice light fitted. I've got a wee spiffing Everdive cartridge for that. And lastly I've got another Game Boy Advance with the not quite so good light. So yeah, that's quite a number of handheld consoles, Kev. Love them, I do. Part 3 of Kevin's questions is, what are your thoughts on the Destiny game for the PS4 console? Have you ever played it? Have I played it? I don't think I have, Kev. No, I mean I do have I've got a PS4, but I don't have many games for it. I can't say I've played Destiny. No, I can't. Sorry, Kev, can't really comment, mate, because I don't have the game. And Kev's last part is, what's your favourite console out of the following? Xbox One, PS2, PS3 or PS4? What's my favourite? I do have all of these now. My Xbox One is downstairs. I don't have many games for it. Fantastic console, but I don't use it that often. PS2, it's funny, I was kind of a latecomer to get the PS, but I say a latecomer, I mean I've had mine for probably 15 years. I didn't get a PS2 on launch. What did I get? I got a GameCube and then I bought the Xbox. So when I got my PS2, it was kind of an old system. It's a great console, but I probably haven't used it that much. So it's not a particular favourite of mine, although I do have a lot of games for it. PS3, again, I've got a PS3, but I also have an Xbox 360, and I always think that the games were virtually identical in both machines. So my PS3 was rarely used because I played my Xbox 360. And the last one, the PS4, I bought that on launch, and I've probably got to say that's probably, out of these 4 consoles you've mentioned, that's the one that I do use the most. It's got some fantastic games. It's really nice, so I'd probably go for the PS4, Kev. And that is it. That is the questions, guys. I'm going to finish up now. Just before I go, I've got a very quick couple of pickups. One of my mates, I was at the computer club on, what day was it, Tuesday this week. He recommended, he actually had this, it is called, you can see that, the Sega 3D Classics. And basically it's a collection of 10 games. You've got Altered Beast, Sonic the Hedgehog, Puyo Puyo, Power Drift, Galaxy, what's it called? I can't even read that. Galaxy, is it Galaxy whatever, something Galaxy 2, Thunderblade, actually Galaxy Force 2, and I haven't a clue what that is. Afterburner, Afterburner? I can't even see that. No, Fantasy Zone 2, sorry. And basically what it is, it's the original games, Sega games. I mean, like for example, Power Drift is the arcade one, but they use this really clever technology where they actually make them 3D. I don't know how they do it, but it's excellent. Now this can only be picked up in Argos. It's £24.99. I've got it yesterday. Really, if you like these games, I can't stress highly enough to go and get it. It's really good fun. Stuff like Power Drift in 3 dimensions just looks awesome, especially on the new 3DS. So yeah, got that. And lastly, I did do a video of my TurboGrafx 16 console. Now, when I was at the computer club last month, one of my mates, he had brought along his Japanese PC Engine. Now I thought they were both identical. However, when I compared them side by side, I realised that the PAL one that I've got, like all PAL machines, was big borders and it didn't run. The games run a lot slower. And he told me that he had a spare PC Engine, which I bought off him this week, and here it is. It is absolutely tiny. Don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Maybe not, I don't know. It's the PC Engine. Apparently there's different versions of this. The PC Engine Core 2 graphics. I mean, it's absolutely tiny. It's about the same size of a PlayStation 2 box, or a PlayStation game I should say. It's absolutely awesome. I mean, it plays American and Japanese games, and I've got to say, you know, they are a lot better than the PAL versions. They play full speed, full screen, you know, basically the way they were intended to be used. So that was my 2 pickups. So anyway guys, listen, that is it. That's the Friday Waffle for another week. I will be back next week because I've obviously got Kev's stuff to talk about. Thanks as usual to all the comments and questions and, you know, continual support that I get. I always really appreciate that. I am getting there towards 1,000. Maybe this time next week we'll have some news. So I am trying to come up with some stuff for a 1,000 subscriber special. But have an excellent weekend, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching.